Welcome to Chillicothe Cavaliers Coach's Corner. I'm Simone Florima.
And I'm Mason Subaru. Back with us this week is CHS head football coach, Coach Bart.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
This past Friday, Chillicothe defeated McLean 50-14. Can you take us through a quarter-by-quarter recap?
I think early on we were able to do what we needed and what we wanted to do offensively. We got a couple scores there in the first quarter, and defensively they hit us for one big play. They have a really nice running back, and he got loose, but we were able to keep him from scoring, and so I think we felt like we were in control there. The second quarter got a little hectic with some other stuff going on, but we were able to, get the score separated a little bit and then get to halftime. I felt like we were in control of the game. So in the second half, we had the opportunity to play a lot of kids that don't normally get in, and that's always a good thing. I mean, those young men, they all practice every day. They're our scout teams. They make us better, and for them to get a chance to get in the game, and it's like I told the varsity guys. Yes, you always want to play, and you always want to be out there, but for those guys to get in and get a play, I said it's something they'll always remember. Their first time they got on a varsity field, first score, whatever it was. I said that it'll be a great memory for them. So that kind of game is a nice situation, for the team.
Despite the score, how were your guys' physical strength?
I think that we were fine. I mean, we matched up well against them. They had a couple kids that were real nice, but I think the physicality, the athleticism, I think we had the edge there. They might have had a couple guys that matched up with us, but there were other places we could exploit. So, those are things that, as a coach, you try to figure out where your mismatches are and what kind of things can you take advantage of. Can you blitz this side, you run at this guy, you throw at this guy. Those are the kind of things that kind of go on during the game. We watch during film during the week, and you kind of have in your mind what you want to do, but then when you get to the game, you kind of see, what's happening.
What was the biggest thing that stood out to you while playing McLean?
Probably the discipline of our kids. We talked all week. We knew that there was possibly some situations that could arise due to things that shouldn't happen in the game, and I felt like our kids, to the most part, did what they needed to do in that situation. As a head coach, I was happy to get to halftime so I could get the guys off the field, because you had a younger, inexperienced officiating crew that was learning and didn't have the experience of a veteran crew, and then things were happening, and you just worried every minute that they were just going to throw a flag and throw someone out. And a lot of times when they do that in games like that with younger officials, they throw both guys out because they don't want to make a decision one way or the other. So getting our guys off the field at halftime or right after halftime was really important to me as far as the head coach.
Today we play Miami Trace at home. How are the Panthers doing this season, and what are their strengths?
Miami Trace has been kind of a roller coaster. They've won. They're 2-4. They played really well last week against Jackson, which I consider Jackson, an upper level team, and so those are the things I think they're getting better. They are a very aggressive minded defensive team. They're going to line up and try to blitz you and put pressure on you, play a lot of man to man. At least that's been their MO for a few years. But then one game this year, they didn't blitz anybody and played a 3-2. And so I don't know, we're going to wait and see what goes on tonight at the game and see where and what they think they can do against us. And then we'll try to figure out where our mismatches are at and where we can attack. And, offensively, they're a kind of an RPO, a run-pass option team where they'll run and run and run, and as soon as linebackers get aggressive, they'll pull it and throw it behind the linebackers. So it causes us to be pretty disciplined with our technique and our reads. They scored 28 last week against Jackson, which was something that they hadn't done. They hadn't scored a lot of points, but so I think maybe they're getting a little better as the year goes on, even though they're 2-4.
What have been your biggest goals in practice this week?
I think every week it's just to try to improve, try to get the speed of practice and the things that we do. I think you know, the kids that are here this year, when they come back next year, will understand where we're at, what we're talking about. But I think each week we've gotten a little better at, practicing harder, practicing with a little bit more focus. Obviously, we just like any team, high school kids, you have days, you have moments that it's not as good as it needs to be. But overall, I think each week we've improved with the focus of how practice should run and the things that the coaches are trying to implement.
Time for the rapid fire questions. Describe your style in one word.
Probably cautious to some extent. I mean, at least in my mind, it is.
What is your dream car?
I'm waiting on them to redo. They've redone all the Camaros and everything, and the Mustangs. I'm waiting on them to redo the Chevelle. I had a 1972 Chevelle that met its fate with a guardrail. So someday I'd like to have another one.
What is your favorite thing to cook?
I like to grill. I like to, I use my smoker a lot too, but I like to grill. I'm one of those guys, I can eat a hamburger every day. My wife, she's all about cooking these big meals and everything, and they're great and stuff, and she does an outstanding job. But it wouldn't bother me if I came home every night and she said, I got hamburgers on the grill. I'd eat hamburger every night, and French fries. But so I think grilling is probably, even in the wintertime, I go out and I cover the grill and use it in the winter.
How many kids do you have?
4. Well, 5.
Mm-hmm.
In 1991, my oldest daughter was killed in a car wreck. So my wife and I, at that point in time, we had 3, and we decided that we wanted to have more children. So we had 2 more. So right now we have 5 kids, 4 that are living, and my son is the oldest. He's a teacher at Old Tangi. My oldest daughter is she's a head nurse at a clinic for Children's Hospital on the west side of Columbus. My middle daughter is a 3rd grade teacher at Paint Valley. And my youngest daughter is a social worker that counsels mostly college students right now. So I think they all do pretty well.
Would you rather fly or have super strength?
That's a good question. I'd probably like to fly. I think you could get so many places. You could see so many other things. There's so much in the world that you'd like to see, but you just can't get there. I don't care how strong I am.
Coach, thanks for joining us today, and good luck.
Thank you. And it's nice that Alexis doesn't have a voice. The world's a better place when we can't hear her. Oh. Thank you, guys.